so happy as kids. You see it start to come. Oh, it's coming. It's coming. It's coming on. You see Fred. You like it's Fred. You get all excited. Lord have mercy. Mercy, 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 Lord, Allah, Buddha, aliens, microbiology, whatever you worship, let it have some mercy. We need some mercy, y'all. As an intro to one of my favorite shows, Sanford and Son. Sanford and Son. Oh my gosh. Hold on, let me take Fred's picture down. This is how I grew up. I think half the time I'm just sharing with y'all the ways we grew up. And we grew up every show on television. Like I got into this good discussion with the lady yesterday. And we were talking about how every show had a theme, right? Because the last generation, they weren't confused. They didn't believe that television was innocent. They knew it was programming. They called it programming. My father was known for calling me the boob tube baby because I was always in front of the TV. Boob tube. It was called the boob tube. You know, it was a shameful thing to sit there and just watch television all the time. You know, but they weren't confused. And it seems like it's this generation. This generation just forgot that this stuff is programming. And I think we dropped. I saw Brother Adrian's cow. He's you big dummy. We dropped that wisdom in knowing that this stuff is programming. It's making you stupid. And I'm gonna try to and I got a lot of older friends, and if y'all want to chime in, I appreciate it. I listen to people older than me. I always listen to people who have more experience than you do. Don't be a big dummy. Listen to your elders. But I think what it was that our parents' generation and the generation before them, they knew that radio and television were just programming. And I think that they were highly offended of anybody coming in their house, raising their kids or telling them how to be and what to do. And so everything on television was positive for the most part. It was things that met with their moral and ethical standards. And so they weren't going to let you bring BS in the house. I tried to bring some tapes in the house with some, I brought a tape in the house. This is back when they had Betamax. Y'all don't know what that is. Don't worry about that. Had a lady, she had on a swimsuit, pop. He hit the eject button. Y'all don't know what that is either, but it was an eject. We used to have an eject button, and he would throw that thing out the window. So, but they were highly critical of what they let in the house. And so every show in the 80s and the 70s, they always had a positive message. Like even the demons, the most evil people on the shows in Dallas, JR, and Hillcrest, the evil wealthy. They even had at Christmas time, they got a heart. They magically fix things. On the Facts of Life. And so anyway, I live in the past, y'all. I know I had a girlfriend who tell me, you always dress like you in the 80s. Yeah, I do. Because I don't care nothing about your styles. I don't have no style. I just think of happier times. But anyway, Brother Adrian already got me, big dummy, already up in the room. You big dummy. I saw something funny, Adrian. I am not ready to post it. It's too soon to joke about the presidents. I think it's too soon. I try not to joke because I don't want to get people upset. Sister Jeannie is in the house. Magdalena, Lori, Jenny. Oh, Debbie done graced our presence. Good morning, Debbie. We're going to talk about some obfuscation. Debbie's always throwing these big words, just throwing me for a ride. Half the time, I'm like, what did she say? I'm on Eco Asia while I'm watching her show. Like, what does that mean? Now you might have to dumb the show down for me. Hope you're doing good this morning. If y'all don't follow Debbie, y'all should be following Debbie. Debbie is my queen of don't get lost in the BS, right? Like, so when something happens something happens in the news on fake TV, right? Something happens. The first channel I go to, what Debbie say? I gotta see what Debbie say, because Debbie should start breaking stuff down and figuring out what the hell is going on. I'm like, I didn't even notice that. So, yesterday with the train accident, right? So, and everyone, what was sick to me, this is what's sick to me. What's sick to me is when something happens, first people out the gate, they believe the news. Oh my God, that happened. Oh, we got to do something. Let's send some money. Let's do this, whatever the next thing the president or the Congress says we need to do. We got to send some money. Zika virus, some mosquitoes coming. We all going to die. The babies and microcephaly. We got to give money. Congress want $1 trillion for the pharmaceutical industry. Give it to them. Give it to them. So what I appreciate about Sister Debbie's channel, Debbie doesn't pull any punches. I'm not as strong as Debbie. Debbie, she reminds me of Irish Chang. Look, I just want the truth. And until you tell me the truth, I'm going to call everything you're talking about some BS, right? So she's the first stop. And so I was like, okay, train accident. And I was like, oh man, that's bad. Bad stuff is happening. And I started listening. I started paying attention. I was like, oh, we got to be careful. But I was like, wait a minute. This isn't adding up. Nothing adds up. The fires don't add up. The Vegas don't add up. 9/11, of course, never added up. We were talking about that yesterday. People starting to really realize that they're being lied to. It's just programming. Fred Sanford ain't never have a heart attack. Actually, no, he did, didn't he? I'm sorry, brother Red Fox, he did have a heart attack. But that wasn't on the show. It was some fake news, right? Anytime Esther Smythe came in, grab his heart, he gonna have a heart attack. It's fake. And so, but the cool thing, what I appreciate how Debbie approached stuff, her first thing out the gate is like that old world wisdom. I don't believe it till you prove it. If you are a liar, right? If you've been caught lying, this is what you do on a regular basis. By default, you're a liar. It's like the kid up the street with the G.I. Joe with the Kung Fu grip, the one that always lied to you. He had the Kung Fu grip. He never had it. He lied. He ain't got it now. He grew up. He still can't get it because they don't sell it no more, dummy. So, but if the media is always lying to you, that's all they do. They're always caught. Now, sometimes it take them 10 years to get caught, but they always get caught lying about something because 6 corporations control them. Then the first thing out their mouth you have to say all the time is, prove it. Right? Okay. Train landed. Prove it. Oh, okay. So it's not a green screen. It's a real train. Okay. Can somebody go up and touch the train? I don't see if the curtain moves, right? It's not. Did the train actually fall on the semi? Do we have people in cars with other pictures other than what you're showing me? Can I see it from another angle? Can I see this? Okay, this makes sense. And even when they tell the truth, a lot of times they doctor it up to make it seem like it's more of a disaster, right? That's that disaster capitalism. So nobody's saying the train accident didn't happen. Nobody's saying the fires aren't happening. Nobody even said Vegas didn't happen. But what I think very logical people who have that old world wisdom are always asking the question, something don't smell right. And I know you're always lying. So I need you to make some sense to me because this isn't making sense. And they are supposed to come back and say, okay, well, that doesn't make sense. Okay, so here's this evidence and here's this. And you walk down the murder investigation because that's always what it is. And so you have to get down to the truth. And if you don't get down to the truth, then they who was that famous person who said never let a disaster go unused or something to that effect? They take these things and they make them seem like worse than what they are to sell something, and my example, what I always love is I love the microcephaly one. I love the Zika, right? Zika's going to kill the world. Zika's coming out. Meanwhile, nobody goes to Wikipedia. This is what I do. This is why Debbie and I are a lot alike. I go to Wikipedia. Wait a minute. What's Zika? I never heard of Zika. That sounds bad. Come from Africa? Oh my God. It's going to kill everybody because everything from Africa kill everybody. We all know that. The Black plagues, China, and so you go to Wikipedia, type in Zika, and you realize Zika effectively is the common cold. Zika, most people who get Zika, more than 90%, they never show a symptom. They don't even know they have it. It has less symptoms than the common cold, but we don't look it up. We don't question anything. We're up and running and we see pictures of babies with malformed heads and we're flipping out. And meanwhile, the doctors in Brazil, which is where they say it came from, the Zika virus, the Zika mosquito, the mosquitoes with the Zika virus, come to find out the doctors the whole time were like, guys, hey, Americans, dummies, you big dummy, dummies. Hey, it's not the mosquitoes, y'all. It's not. Hey, hello. And Americans, we running around, we going to the township, knocking on the door. Y'all need to spray for mosquitoes. Get those carcinogens out in the neighborhood. We need some DDT. Spray down the neighborhood. The president comes out. We need to give $4 trillion to the pharmaceutical industries to hurry up and make a vaccine for Zika. And meanwhile, it's coming all out of your pockets, right? Sanford and Son, Cal and Fred right behind me. So all the money's flowing out of your pockets. Washington, everybody clapping the crazy. Obama, we got to get some Zika. We got to fight the Zika. We need a war on Zika. And everybody's flipping out. And meanwhile, people like Debbie are sitting back saying, that don't make sense. Y'all help. Oh, hey, the doctors, they're saying that, and this is why you got to have independent journalists that y'all are killing all over the world. But there's a war on independent journalism right now because they don't want the journalists to go fly down to Brazil and say, oh, really? So what's causing the microcephaly? It's the chemicals from the chemical companies that they're pouring in the sewers and the water, and people are drinking the water, and that's causing microcephaly. Oh, that's bad. Who are the chemical companies? The same chemical companies who are manufacturing the vaccines, right? Because the pharmaceutical companies and the chemical companies are all the same damn thing. So I didn't even want to talk about that this morning. That's not where I'm going. It's just, it all fits together, and it's all the same stupid thing. We're not as smart as we used to be. Our heads are just as big as our parents' heads and the parents' heads before them, but they dumbed us down and they convinced us that this television thing is real and that's not being used to program us. We need to go back to that old world thinking. This is programming. Some of y'all need to take the Betamax tapes and throw them the hell out the house. Watch what your kids are watching because they're going to make your kids some idiots, man. Like, that's the whole point. I had a great discussion with my son this past weekend, and all we did, we just talked about where the world is going. We talked about automation and development. He's a little software engineer. In high school, he's already writing software programs. Talking about where we can we go, but don't let your kids get lost. But anyway, I wasn't going to talk about that this morning. I would talk about China. China is done with y'all crap. Starting January 1st. China said they are done with America's crap. They don't want y'all crap no more. Y'all, the recycle bins, what they said, you can get in your little Prius, y'all at home. Hey, baby, no, the bottle goes in the recycle bin. Put the plastic here, and the cardboard goes here, and the trash is there. Okay, baby, get in your little Prius, get your pack, put it together, drive on down to the recycle bin, and the recycle bin is not going to be there. China has decided it is no longer taking any more of your plastics and your crap, which to me is a fantastic I got to make a word up. Phenomenal-tastic, ginormous, wonderful thing. It is a wonderful thing. Why is it a wonderful thing that you ain't going to be able to recycle no more? Because it's going to hopefully force Americans down that path of living more sustainable. How did we even get here? We got here from ignorance. We got here because we decided we wanted to make everything with plastic. We don't want to be smart. We don't want to fix things. We don't want to, be smart with our money. We want to make a bunch of money, buy a bunch of crap, put all that crap in bags of crap, throw the bad crap away, use the crap till the crap is outdated, and then the new upgrade of the crap comes, and we throw that crap out, and we want to buy the next of the crap, and so we're going to pay a heavy price. So, hey, God, Allah, Buddha, microbiology, all of that, bless China. Thank you, China. This monoculture we live in has got to come to an end. So China's done, y'all. They don't want to be Fred Sanford, China. No, they retiring. They're done. You're not going to send them crap no more. They're tired. Their country, let me flip this picture. Their country is so toxic. They are done with it. They are done. Their kids are just sitting on trash piles, all kind of electronics. Little baby got the Teddy Ruxpin hand, is still moving. Y'all don't remember Teddy Ruxpin. I'm a little old. But listen, they're done. So the good thing is, I think it's going to start to force a conversation, I hope, of addressing our monoculture. addressing our unsustainability. Everything we do is complete, ignorant, unsustainable. Like something I was looking at this morning, Al Jazeera's got a good report about the sand wars, right? Like everything is a war. So if we were running out of oil, so we had to murder a bunch of people. Then the Middle East and different places, Africa started running out of water, so you had the water wars in India. And now we got sand wars. I was starting to get a little insight into this yesterday, and it's blowing my mind. But if you go back and you look at who's that ignorant country that's building they're building islands. They're building the Palm Island, Dubai. A friend of mine just went to Dubai. Oh my God. She posted some pictures. They got police cars that are worth more than probably everything I've owned in my entire life. In a police car, I think it's what they like Bugattis or something. Police cars. So, anyway, and then they got the world island. They're taking sand and they're building on the sand. Well, but this is the whole thing about when I was talking about we are a dust collecting. We're an asteroid dust collecting, unsustainable monoculture monster because we spend our entire lives collecting asteroid dust. And then we send it to China, but China ain't taking that crap no more. We're collecting this dust, and that's what sand is. It's asteroid dust. And so in sand, you got your silicon and your metals and what you basically make everything from. But also, it's concrete, right? Like that's the number one consumer of all the sand is concrete. So when we talk about how cities are unsustainable, our houses are unsustainable. One house uses 20 tons of concrete. One house, 20 tons of 20 tons of sand. And so where's all this sand coming from? Of course, they're taking it from the beaches and they're dredging it off the coast. And you would sit here and think, well, but that doesn't make any sense because it's sand all over the desert. We got desert sand. It's a great thing. Just harvest some of that sand. No, different types of sand, right? You got sand underwater that's rigid and it can form a nice aggregate for concrete. And then you got the sand that's out in the desert where there's not much where you think you could take it, but it's rounded because the wind blows it around. And so you can't use it as an aggregate in concrete. So our cities, so basically we're dredging our coastlines to build bigger cities, to build more unsustainable houses. Why? Well, because somebody's got to make a lot of money. You got billionaires at the top that want to become trillionaires. You got the millionaires, they want to become billionaires. And you got the rest of everybody else, the middle class, and they want to keep their boot on the neck of the poor and blame them for everything and one day hopefully become a millionaire. But it's all this unsustainable thing. So what do? They move to the city, they get a job, they buy a car, they live on that concrete, they build a house on the outskirts of it, and they got the nice concrete to walk on. And what happens? It gets cracked, it breaks. We want to pave the road. We want the pretty black asphalt. So they rip all that concrete up, put some more concrete down. And the whole unsustainable idea of a city, like if you really think about it from top to bottom, not even just from a sand perspective, but everything from a psychological perspective, being surrounded by so many people who I can't go to New York. I can't. When I go to New York, I go on Sunday, and I love y'all. I'm not talking about y'all New York people. I love my New York people, but I can't go. In DC too, I can't. Rush hour, you will not see me. Say, hey, Gerard, let's meet at rush hour. I don't even think they even let me in the cities anymore. I get in there, I see people just running the rat race, going here, going there, got the briefcase, got the phone, nobody talking, everybody looking down, looking. It's stressful just being in a city. Like when I get within the limits. When I go through that bridge, I forgot the bridge. You got got the 5G tower that zaps everybody when you go through the GW bridge in New York. I feel the stress right away. Like, I start picking up all of the. So, but it's cities are unsustainable, and we have to kind of get past any of these unsustainable ideas. And so, shipping all of this crap to China wasn't unsustainable. Somebody was just talking about Sister Carrie talking about hempcrete. Right. We need to put, like, we're smart enough to say, okay, we want to build a sustainable tomorrow. So any unsustainable ideas that anybody comes up with, no matter how much I like them, no matter if I voted for them, no matter if they're my brother, my sister, my wife, or my brother, whatever, I'm going to say, no, that's a bad idea. It's not sustainable. everything. And it's just not from a mineral and asteroid dust perspective. It's also from a psychological toxic friendship or marriage perspective too, right? All of that, so if it's an unsustainable idea, we just say no. Now you need to go back and think about that a little more. Right? That doesn't make a whole lot of sense, because when you look at all this trash buildup, and what do we do with all of this? This is what's called, it's another big word. Debbie didn't give me this word. There's another big word. Is it called externalities? Externalities. I think I can't spell it. Don't ask me to spell it. I can't spell it. But it was that study that they did to prove that all corporations none of them make any profit. When you calculate in the externalities, so the excess of all the crap that they make and how it doesn't get dealt with, the damage to the environment, the cost of getting rid of it, that there are no profitable corporations. These big business, and I'm not talking about small companies. This was done on big businesses, but the excess, all the plastic and the trash and the pollution and everything that they don't clean up, all the oil that they're pumping out of these African and Middle Eastern countries, and even in America, that they actually are a negative influence on our environment, that none of them are sustainable. None of them actually make any money if they had to take their profits and clean up the excess. So if it's an unsustainable idea, we need to be big enough to say that's a bad idea. Let's not go that direction. Doesn't mean we know the direction to go, but that direction is a bad idea. So, but that's what's happening with sand. Sand wars. Actually, Al Jazeera's got a great, I have to post, they got a great little documentary talking about the sand wars and what's going on. So it's not just Dubai, because this is what we like to do. We like to look up at the ignorant, super ruling elite and say, "Sure, I thought you did it." We do it too. Everything, all day long, you interact with sand, right? All your cell phones, all of your laptops, your computers, your cars, all of that stuff, all of that crap is sand. So maybe we need to be making hempcrete houses. Maybe we need to invest more in cob houses. Like, if we know our current houses are bad, not just because from even a sand unsustainable perspective, but a health unsustainable perspective. Our houses are made according to building codes that include lots of toxic material. Your house is your brand new house is constantly off gassing. You're breathing in all of this. You're getting sick. Like one of the things I regret the most, anybody who's pregnant, you young folks, or the ones who are thinking about having a baby. Every time I see a woman with a little bump right here and got the proud husband walking with her, first of all, I got to do an assessment. I got to make sure, is she really pregnant? That's number one, because I got myself in trouble. We live in a time where we have a lot of men and women with a little excess right there. And it's just there used to be a time when a little extra chub was a little extra chub. I always had a little extra chub. Y'all remember me, my friends from back in school. I always carried a little extra chub with me. I went a vegetarian, that went away. But now it's not like extra chub everywhere that's equal. It's not equal chub. It's specific chub, like it's right on the belly. Like, there used to be a difference in a pregnant belly and just a regular American belly. Now we got these American bellies, new age, where the person is skinny, but they got a big belly and they look pregnant. So I got myself in trouble a couple times. Congratulations. Congratulate what? What you congratulate? So I don't like getting smacked. So I kind of make sure, and I look and I make sure, okay, are they really pregnant? Are they acting like it? I kind of say something to the husband. Maybe you do a little congratulations to him, and if he responds, then you kind of know that it is like you have to. It's survival, y'all. You got to come up with ways to survive in this country, because pregnant women, they'll kill you. And the only one who'll kill you faster than a pregnant woman is a non-pregnant woman you call pregnant. So anyway, but when I meet these couples, what I'll do, the first thing I say, okay, so we'll talk about all the plastic crap that comes from China, all the stuff that they're constantly recycling, right? Because all the trash all the recycled stuff goes in barges, goes to China. And because no one pays attention to the label, they put Teddy Ruxpin in the recycle bin, or whatever the new toy is. What is it? Fidget spinner things. They'll put them in there and they think, oh, the whole thing can be recycled. They melt it down. It creates all this toxic fumes and gas, kills a bunch of Chinese kids. They don't care. They're 1%. That's 99%. They don't care about them. And then they ship it back here in the shape of something. And it's a baby mobile. Oh, it's so pretty and cute. And then parents, they put on a little list for I went to Baby Mobile. You go buy the plastic China Baby Mobile, you know, with the character, whoever's in style for the kids now, and you hang it up in the baby's room. And so you had a baby shower, and everybody buys all the toxic crap that they can buy from Toys R Us and all of these ignorant places. Nobody makes a damn thing. You can go get a block of wood and start carving something, but no, nobody does that. They go buy all this plastic stuff that's full of all the stuff that the fidget spinners and things that Americans refuse to put in the right bin. And so it comes back here and it's slowly off gassing. So you buy all this stuff, you paint the baby's room, you throw all this plastic crap in there, and what do the parents do? Well, first of all, they're all in a toxic house, but the parent goes and they sleep in their bedroom where it's mostly off gas. There's not a whole lot of new stuff. And they put the baby in the toxic waste dump where everything's off gassing, all these chemicals and just everything. And they put the baby in, close the door, turn the baby monitor on. So the baby, who has newly developing organs and cells splitting and dividing, and all they're doing is breathing in all the toxic fumes that this little kid in China breathing in. One of the dumbest things you can do if you are pregnant, do not have a whole bunch of plastic crap on your list for what you want for your baby. Get as many handmade, local, natural things as you can. Do not paint the room. Put the baby in the old room. But so anyway, sustainable housing, and so we need to look at those things: bamboo, woods, natural things, because you don't want to have a chronically ill child, not an infant. You don't want to have that. You don't want to go there. That's so again, monoculture, sustainability. I didn't even get into the news yet. Like I'm off talking, I'm already running out of time. It was, but it's important. It's important that we link our monoculture unsustainability to what's happening all over the world. So the answer isn't for America to say, oh, we got to come up with some recycling stuff here. We got to start to get rid of this trash, because you know right now they're doing that. That's one of their answers is going to be, we need some federal funding. You know, Zika, right? We need some federal funding to take a lot of these recycled. I think it's Washington State, I believe, has the most recycling places in the United States. We need to beef them up so they can handle all the excess toxic stuff they can send to China, which is a really bad idea because Washington is west of me. That's why it's a bad idea. You live in Washington State, it's a bad idea because they're going to start dumping this crap in landfills and burning what they can. And of course, the jet stream going to bring and share with the rest of America. Breathe it in, you know, just take in the toxic air, you know. But it's important for us to look at that and say, no, that's not the right way. The right way is we need to stop using so much crap. Right? And I'm guilty like everybody else. Sometimes I'm at the grocery store, I'm in a hurry, and I take the plastic. No, go with the paper. Don't get the plastic, get the paper. And that paper more increasingly needs to be bamboo, right? And so little things that we do. Don't always upgrade your cell phones. Don't upgrade your laptops. Don't buy a bunch of crap. You know, start focusing on, you know, natural stuff is cool, man. Like, I love natural stuff. Buy something that's wood, and it doesn't have to be shellacked and finished. You know, a really nice looking house is a modern house with a lot of natural things. Get yourself some plants. I know, sound like a broken record. Hey, you the crazy plant guy always talking about some damn plants. Get yourself some plants. Plants all take in particles from the air and they clean the indoor air. Get yourself an indoor air cleaner too, right? You want to constantly scrub this crap. Did you know? I remember some crazy stuff I heard. I'm talking about the unsustainability of cities. Did you know that asbestos is found in New York apartments? There was a study. They were finding the dust in a lot of the New York apartments was asbestos. Where does that even come from? Somebody was smart enough to put the pieces together. It's it because all in the cities, what are the cars doing all day long? The people driving, hitting the brakes, driving, hitting the brakes, driving, hitting the brakes. And every time they hit that brake, a little bit of that asbestos dust comes off. A little bit comes off. And, you know, one car versus 5 million cars all day long doing this. Taxi cab driving. Unsustainability of cities. And what does that asbestos dust do? The wind blows it around. You know, you ever One thing I had walking in the city, and you walk over the grate, and the sewer smell just comes up and engulfs you. Oh goodness, the effervescence, I love it. But so anyway, so all the wind blows all that asbestos around, and in New York, what do you want? You're in the top. It's not New York, Chicago, DC, all over. Got your windows open, and where do you think the wind blows all that asbestos? Right? Most houses in the suburbs, 99% of all the particles in the air, the dust, is actually just human skin, which is a pretty disgusting thing. But your body takes it in and utilizes it. But if it's asbestos that you're actually dusting in a lot of these cities, how sustainable do you think is life living 60, 70, 80 years in a city, creating more and more cars, more and more asbestos, getting bigger and bigger and bigger, and you're breathing all this into your lungs? So just another way cities are really, really unsustainable. Not a really good idea right now. Like I get the convenience of it, but what we have to do, once again, we look at the sand wars and the problems in our environment, the problems in our world, slavery and all the forced labor and everything. If it's an unsustainable thing, we have to say this is a bad idea. Doesn't mean we know the answer just yet. Like I think the answer is cob houses, and I think the answer is hempcrete and bamboo and sustainability and earth ships. Like I think we have to start to go in these directions. You'll still have your convenience, right? Because very soon you're gonna see drones everywhere. You know where they, and not all of them gonna say Amazon. You'll see drones everywhere. They'll all say Amazon, but you know they're the first. They're not all say some are gonna say CIA, FBI, Homeland Security. Then they're gonna scratch that off and put Amazon on it. So you're gonna think it's gonna have a package. They have a little package underneath. It's not a package. There ain't nothing plastic in that package. It's gonna be something else. But anyway. Yeah, you gotta have plants in the bedroom. You gotta have plants all over the house. I was seeing what somebody was just posted. So, and the other part, I'm gonna flip back to Fred Sanford. I didn't even touch the news. There was a bunch of stuff going on. You know what? Let me do that. I'm off. I don't know how I went down that route. But poor little Chinese kid. Let's let him go back. Bring Fred and Cal back. It's the other sustainable thing, right? You think about sustainable relationships and morals and ethics. You know, if we ended up being this, like one of the things that kind of gets to me, I think about a lot, is if we ended up here and we basically were raised on television where everybody, you know, wanted to be the good guy. Right? Everything had a message and everything had something positive. All the television programming, we were programmed for all that good. What do you think is going to be the end point of a generation that's raised today? What's the end point of a generation that's raised in a time of lies, where perhaps they do have a lot of false flags, or what they're constantly trying to do is they're trying to get people to be scared and to buy into a lot of this stuff. Like, what is the end point of that? How can that actually go well for those kids? Some crazy stuff. Sorry. I'm gonna dig down into the news. You can't. I wanted to. So Bitcoin is up. I'm gonna talk about Bitcoin just for a minute, not for a long time. I don't know a whole lot about Bitcoin. I don't want anybody to think, oh, it's Bitcoin. I'm not a Bitcoin expert. But the European Union is now coming out with new rules and regulations for Bitcoin, and for as far as its transparency and if you can hide who you are, stuff like that. So to me, if the banks don't like it, it might be a good thing. If those who are against freedom, against mankind having this freedom and, you know, making his own self-determination, stuff like that, if they don't like it, maybe it's time to start taking a second look at it. And it means a lot coming from me, because I know people will hit me with the MMT and the Bitcoin, digital currency, stuff like that, and I'm not interested in a lot of it. But I do get that we have to start walking away from what is not sustainable. What's not sustainable is our current currency model. What's not sustainable is the petrodollar. They just end up murdering and killing people all over the world. Dust collecting, right? Collecting asteroid dust and dinosaur, you know, but that still started with asteroid dust if oil comes from dinosaurs. But getting away from those currencies. And so anything that makes it more difficult, anything that takes some of their power it's probably a good thing. And I think right now they said one Bitcoin is worth 20,000 US dollars or something like that. So crazy things are happening there. I don't really know what's going on, but I'm not against it. Like, I get how you can take that, you can abuse a population probably with the digital currency even easier than you probably can with the physical currency, but it's still an abusive thing. But if it takes some power from the current foul mega powers, it probably is a good thing. So you had that. You got the sand wars. Saudi Arabia. What happened to Saudi Arabia? Oh, Saudi Arabia. They intercepted a missile. So the Houthis, they shot a missile from the whole Yemen conflict. They shot a missile over into Saudi Arabia, and Saudi Arabia intercepted it. My only 2 cents on that is, like, that was how this whole thing started, right? They shot a missile. Saudi Arabia flipped out. And when they flipped out, they decided that murdering a couple 100,000 people was a good idea. So they put up the blockade and they're starving everybody. What they should be intercepting United States Air Force jets. And they ain't intercepting them. I got buddies in the Air Force. You ain't intercepting them. They should be intercepting UN jets that are bringing about an end to this conflict. But that's not happening because it's some asteroid dust. Everybody wants that in power. But, and of course, the current administration, I have to say it the right way, falling deeply in line with the last administration in terms of foreign policy and who the enemies are. And so China kind of responded to that, his policy yesterday, where they're basically saying, it wasn't a positive response. And I forgot their response, actually, y'all. It wasn't a good one. I forgot the words, and I don't care because the response wasn't for me. None of this is about me, and none of this is for me. This is the 1% of that rules America talking to the 1% that rules China. I have no dog in that fight. I really don't care. I don't get lost in the politics of things that don't involve me. I wasn't born into a billionaire family. Why in the world would I be so concerned which billionaires have what power? Because I don't even think they're really fighting like the whole wars and all that stuff. I don't even think it has anything to do with nations. I think it's all just different families and different structures and industries that are kind of vying for a little more power, a little more minerals. And whichever one wins that has interest in certain countries, it looks like that country bubbles to the top. But they all mean us all the same exact harm. They all don't care at all about us or our kids. So in terms of not caring about the response it led me into a point. I'm going to say this and I'm going to be done. The whole idea of government. I posted something. Let me go back and see. Sometimes I post stuff, I forget what I'm saying, but people read it and sometimes I get I'm not the best grammar person, y'all. Voice to text doesn't like me. I don't speak the King's English all that well when I'm not in a meeting. Sometimes I'll use a little ebonical slurs. I posted that. I said, it's the nature of government to be at a cold war with its people. And the reason why is because we're always rivals, right? It's not a hot war. The government's never at a hot war with you. But the basis of a government, whether it's a king, some capitalism, democracy, socialism, capitalism, it doesn't matter. The whole basis and power of that government is your rights. Right? The more of your rights they have, the more power they hold. So they always are in some sort of a passive rival conflict with you for your rights. The more of your rights that you have, the less power they have. The more of your rights you have, the more power the citizens are. And so every government, I don't care where it is, all over the world, they all have this one same exact conflict in common. And that is there's always a passive Cold War rivalry with their citizens. And the only way to keep that Cold War cold, you want it to stay cold and you want the citizens to maintain most control, is the citizens can't be overly trusting of the removal of their rights. Right? Like that's you have to question everything because everything almost is an intent to take money from you in terms of taxes, all that Zika and all this nonsense and the infrastructure planning stuff that's coming out now that after they were talking about the train crash. but also in free speech and like everything that happens, it's the removal of those rights because they're taking more and more power. And so it's important, like the last generation, to not be confused that they are almost always after more power. It's the basis of what they are. They are there to govern. The more power they have, the easier they can govern, right? So there's no great evil in it. And I know y'all, some people, they don't like the libertarian message and they start talking about anarchy, but at the basis of my core, I'm an anarchist. I completely am. And while I think we have to evolve through different types of government to get to a point where people are self-governing, the reality is people should be self-governing. And I think if you really, really think within yourself and you really think about this concept that it's a good idea for somebody else to tell you how to live, someone else to tell your kids how to live or what they can become or what they can and can't do that's peaceful, that they're pursuing and exploring their lives, I think the more and more you'll realize that the end state of humanity has to be some form of non-governmental structure, anarchy, because if we continue along the direction of giving small groups massive amounts of power over us, it's not going to end well. It's not. It's not. I think I said it's not. I don't mean it's not. I mean, it's not. It's not. Sometimes I slur my words together. Y'all have to excuse me. But I definitely will ask you to kind of think a little more about this word anarchy, you know, because it's not this image of people going crazy, because a family is an anarchy, right? There are no rules within the family. When you all get home at the house, you don't kill and murder, rob and rape each other and steal each other. Okay, you might take the toys. And my brother's always taking my toys, but I was the smallest for a little while. But after a while, when you mature, which is what we should be doing with kids, they become adults who respect each other's right to self-determine, you know, their free will, to not tell each other what to do and not force yourself into others' lives in their underwear and force them to be like you, into their, you know, as long as you got that same basic moral and ethic structure where, you know, you're free to self-determine your own life. And if you believe in that, and you believe in liberty and freedom, if you're a liberal, if you're a constitutionalist and you believe in freedom and these things, then the end state of our social or our governmental and social evolution has to be a place of anarchy. And that's not a place of giving government more power. And how do we do that? We give government more power by continuing to divide ourselves, by continuing to buy into this nonsense that the us versus them is anyone within the 99%. Us versus them, the only fight that's ever been fought in human history that ever means any damn thing. It's always the haves versus the have-nots, and it always will be. They may not wear crowns and robes anymore, but they're still kings and lords, and it's always us versus them. And so I don't like to get lost in any of the ignorant sub-arguments, because, you know, we are at a place where we're playing for the world now. You know, when you start to evolve, when a society goes to this paradigm shift where robots actually can fight the war for the people and the lords and the kings don't actually need people, they can do it with robots, that's going to be that shift where you'll really find out what the war has always been. It's always been this ruling elite and those above them, the haves, the ruling elite versus the have-nots. So, but anyway, I didn't mean to talk about none of that. It went where it went. I just wanted to talk about the news a little bit, but to me, it's real conversation in terms of sustainability and monoculture. And go be you, live your life. Don't let anybody tell you how to live. Don't let anybody tell you how to be. Don't let anybody tell you what to do. You are this little human thing with all this different microbiology and ideas and aspirations and goals. All of that stuff pushes you in certain directions that you're supposed to go. You know, if you want to go play your saxophone, you should go play your saxophone. Don't think about the money. Don't think about how you're going to live. Because if you find love in what you do 24/7, you'll never stop doing it. I'm going to end on this picture, which is why, you know, like I said before, you know, this is not a reality. Wally, because somebody posted that earlier. This is not the future. This is not the future. Human beings are not fat and lazy. That's a 1% lie that's always been handed down, that you need us to govern you. If we don't govern you, you're not going to do what you're supposed to do. So we need to treat you like children, and you need to obey our rules and our laws, which always is funneling money and our resources from us to them. But human beings aren't that way. Because when you find what you love, you'll do it for the rest of your life for free. That's a fact. So what we need to do is spend time helping kids find what they love and making sure that they can chase that, because you never know where it's going to end, right? There's a brother I know, he's chasing this idea that the universe is mathematically musical. And I forgot the name of his website. My brother just blows me away every time I talk to him. But he was a musician, and he went into he worked for the Pentagon. So he was a savant with mathematics, but the relationship between music, mathematics, and the universe, and he sees connections which are phenomenal. And it's just like, this is a kid who, if we possibly sent down the right direction, they'll turn into these Nikola Teslas and these Einsteins and amazing things. But we have to give kids that freedom. And the only way to do that is through getting past this idea of working for the elite, right? Because some of y'all take that old understanding, if a man doesn't work, he doesn't eat, and you've replaced it, if a person doesn't work for the ruling elite, they don't eat, which is true. But you have to undo some of your indoctrination about what a job is. It's in the shame that you put on people who don't have jobs, who are chasing and pursuing things that aren't going to make a lot of money. Because we're actually stifling our evolution. We're stifling our technology. We're stifling things that we need to uncover and discover, being a collective of wide-ranging different types of human chasing different passions, as opposed to that passion always being the collection of asteroid dust, so we can brag to our neighbor that we got a little more dust than they got. Anyway, interesting morning. Certainly appreciate you guys hanging in. I couldn't see my comments all that well, but I'll have to go back and reread them. Happy Tuesday, you guys. Live free, be well. Love y'all to death. And recycle.